In this video, we're going to work with a display-referred color management system in Resolve. So the first thing I'll do is go and check out the color management settings. You can go up to File, Project Settings, or use this gear icon down here at the bottom right as a shortcut. I'll click that. I'll go to the color management section. You'll see up here the color science menu is set to DaVinci YRGB, and that's a display-referred system you get by default. You'll see the timeline color space is set to Rec. 709 Gamma 2.4, and that's the default color space of the timeline. Now that affects the way the color controls work in the Color tab in terms of how they are mapped or how they are arranged. It doesn't actually affect the look of the various views. Now if you do intend to output to a different color space, you can change this menu. However, Rec. 709 Gamma 2.4 is commonly used with HDTV and for web delivery. Let's go ahead and bring in a clip. Right mouse button click down here in the Media tab, go to Import Media, and once again there are a few shots included for you within the footage folder that's within the Project Files folder. Let's start with the Alexa LF camera shot, and that's stored in the ProRes format. I'll open that. You can see it's washed out. That's a good indicator that it's actually in logarithmic color space. Many high-end cameras use that space. Logarithmic is nonlinear, so the exposure curve is not on a straight line. This is often used to emulate the same exposure curve of motion picture cameras. When you bring in footage, Resolve will attempt to interpret the footage based on its metadata. If you have a clip selected, like I do here, you'll see information about that clip over in Clip Details. So in fact, Resolve did recognize that this has 16 bits per channel. Now, if you're using a display-referred system and are working with logarithmic footage, it's generally necessary to do one of two things: draw a custom curve in the Color tab, or apply a LUT or lookup table. The goal of either step is to normalize the image. And normalization is the process by which values in the image are redistributed to improve the contrast. There are different places you can apply LUTs inside Resolve, and each option has advantages and disadvantages. Let's try the first. And the first is to apply a LUT right to the clip in the Media tab. You can right mouse button click over the clip, and you'll see a list of LUTs, and these come with the program. When working with camera footage, you generally apply a 3D LUT, and there are some camera LUTs that are included. For example, I can go to the ARRI menu, and there's a ARRI Alexa Log C to Rec. 709 LUT. And again, LUTs are designed to transform one color space to another. So this will transform the logarithmic space to Rec. 709, which is a linear space. Rec. 709 is also a gamma-adjusted space, where gamma adjustment is applied to improve the contrast so it looks better for human vision. Let's give that a try. So indeed, the contrast changes to what you might expect for something going to broadcast video. So now a transform has occurred in the Media tab. I'll right mouse button click over the clip and go to Create New Timeline and use the default settings. Now if I skip over to the other tabs, you'll see the same result. I get the result of the applied LUT. In fact, this even carries into Fusion because Fusion grabs a clip right from the Media tab. And of course, you also see that result in the Color tab and the Deliver tab. Now there are advantages and disadvantages of applying the LUT in the Media tab. The biggest disadvantage, though, is the fact that the LUT occurs before the color grading. So by the time you get to the Color tab, the LUT's already applied. You can see the change in contrast. In general, colorists prefer to color grade on the logarithmic version, get better quality, because once again, LUTs are destructive, and odds are they're clipping in such a way that you lose some of the value range. Now that's okay if you're creating dailies or creating a non-critical result. So there are times that you need to quickly work, and applying the LUT to the clip is fine. Now the advantage of this is you can apply a different LUT to each clip. So if you're working with clips from multiple cameras, each clip can have a unique LUT designed for that camera. So that can make it easier to work with, at least quickly. Now that's not the only way to apply a LUT though. Let's take a look at some other approaches. Go back to the clip, right mouse button click, and set it back to no LUT. And once again, it's washed out and logarithmic. The second way to do it is to apply a universal LUT through the project settings. Go back to my project settings. While I'm in the color management section, scroll down And here's an entire lookup tables section. And these are universal LUTs. In other words, they'll be applied to all the inputs or all the outputs. For example, I can change 3D input lookup table to the LUT we used before, area Alexa log C, the Rec 709. If I click Save, that LUT is applied to all incoming clips. So it's a one-step process. Now, the disadvantage here is if you're using footage from more than one camera, obviously that might not work. Again, though, that's applied before the color grading. So again, maybe not good for final work, but it might be good for dailies or something quick. I'll return that to No LUT Selected. You can also use this section to control all the outputs. So I go to 3D output lookup table, set that LUT. Now when I save, that LUT's applied to all the outputs. If you look at your node very carefully, you can see that it shows once again the logarithmic washed out version. But the LUT's really applied at the very end of the process, after the color grading. So that might work if you need to go to a single output, but have that occur at the very end of the process. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off though. No LUT selected. Now let's look at a third method, which is probably the most powerful and most flexible, and that's to apply LUT right in the Color tab. You can apply LUTs directly to the nodes you have. In fact, I could apply a LUT right here to this corrector. You can see if I right mouse button click, there's a list of LUTs we've seen before. A more powerful way though is to add additional nodes, and then you can be more selective about where the LUT occurs in terms of the pipeline. I'm going to go up to the Color menu and create 2 new nodes. I'll go ahead and click this one time here to create the first one, and then you can apply a second one by simply pressing Alt-S. I can apply a LUT to any of these nodes. So for the maximum flexibility, I can actually go to the center one, the middle one, right mouse button click, go to LUTs, and then choose a LUT. I'll go back and select the area one once again, and there the LUT is applied in the center of that network. What that means is I can apply color grading before or after the LUT, depending on what I want to achieve. So for example, I want to go back to the first node and do some quick color correction. Maybe I'll just adjust the contrast curve here. What that means is the color grading is occurring before the LUT. That means the color grading is occurring in logarithmic space. Now that a LUT is applied at the end of the network, you can easily change the LUT if you're delivering to multiple outputs. By changing the LUT to HDR or P3 for cinema delivery, a simple trim pass of your grade is usually all that is needed. You can think of a trim pass as a simple adjustment to prepare your grading for a different output. That would not be possible, however, if you graded after the LUT. If you want to take a look at this, I've saved a finished version as Alexa display referred, and that's included with the project files in the database. By the way, the database is called Color if you want to add it to your system. So now we're ready to move on to the next topic, and that's using DCTLs and NoFX plugins to match footage from different cameras. And we'll take a look at that in the next lesson.